Welcome you all for direct taxation class. In today's session, we will be discussing on pension. So what do you mean by the pension? This is also one form of salary what an individual or employee will be getting. So what do you mean by pension here? So pension means it is a periodical payment received by an employee after his retirement. Means once he retires, he will be getting a pension, right? On certain occasions, employer will allow him to withdraw certain amount or lump sum amount of pension, which is the value of that particular person, means which is related to that an individual or an employee, that will be allowed as a withdrawal for the employee, right? And also here, in case the pension is periodically received by an employee, it is said as uncommuted pension. In case on the other hand, pension is received in lump sum, it is said as commuted pension, right? So this is again one more benefit, or it is also said as retirement benefit for the individuals or the employees. So with respect to income tax or assessment of income tax, so how this pension will be having an impact, or how the assessment will be made, or how the tax treatment of pension will happen, right? So as per the income tax norms, they have defined the cases, or they have said different cases how pension will be chargeable to tax, whether it is chargeable to tax or whether it is not chargeable to tax, right? First case here means there are different cases that has been provided. I will go with one by one and I will tell whether it is chargeable or not. Okay. So first case, pension is received from UNO by the employee or his family members. In this case, it is not taxable. Clear? This is one case. Next case, family pension received by the family members of armed forces. So that is exempted under section 10 subsection 19. This is second case. Next one, third case, family pension received by the family members after the death of an employee, which is not covered in your second case. So at that point of time, it is taxable. Again, it is taxable in the hands of a person who is receiving it under section 56 under the head income from other sources. Means it will be charged for the person who is receiving the pension after death of a particular person, right? So it will be chargeable for him under section 56 under the head income from other sources. And also standard deduction will be provided under section 57 with respect to this, where 1/3 of the pension or 15,000, whichever is lower, that deduction will be available. This is third case. Next one is fourth case, which is popularly known as NPS, right? So here pension in case of employee, in this case, who has joined the central government on or after January 1, 2004 or any other employee. So how it is taxable? Here it goes as per section 80 CCD subsection 1. Here they say that it has to be paid or deposited, means any amount which is deposited here under this NPS scheme, NPS, right, will be given a deduction to the extent of 10% of salary, right? That is one thing. Next thing is, in the new provision, what they have said here is date of joining the service being on or after 1/1/2004 will not be applicable for private sector employees. This is one thing. Next thing is, there are sections based on which they have said how it is related to employer and how it is related to employee, right? First point, employer contribution will be first included in the salary, afterwards it will be given as a deduction to the extent of 14% under section 80 CCD subsection 2. This is with respect to employer. Next thing is employee's contribution is deductible under section 80 CCD subsection 1 to the extent of 10% of salary. This is second one. Next point, from assessment year 16-17, the employee can make an additional contribution towards this NPS up to 50,000, right? And also he can claim the deduction for the same under section 80 CCD subsection 1B, right? Next one, when pension is received with respect to all these aforesaid amounts, so in case if it is exceeding, it will be taxable for the individual or the employees, right? Next thing, employer contribution towards NPS will not be considered for monetary ceiling of 1.5 lakh. When you will be giving a deduction, this monetary ceiling will be applicable. So at that time they say that employer contribution will not be considered to calculate your monetary ceiling. So this is with respect to NPS, right? Next case, this is fourth case, now it is fifth case. So here in your fifth case, they say that pension received by an employee after retirement but during his lifetime, means the person is alive at that point of time, which says section 17 subsection 1 subsection II, right? Here they say that it will be received in two terms. One is uncommuted pension, another one is commuted pension. So initially only I said, what do you mean by uncommuted pension? So periodical payment in terms of pension, what an employee will be receiving, that will be said as uncommuted pension. Commuted pension in the sense which is received in lump sum, with means on behalf of receiving on periodical payment, they will receive it as lump sum. So that is said as commuted pension. Here also government employee, non-government employee classification will be applicable in this fifth case, right? So where uncommuted pension, it is taxable for both, whether employee is government employee or non-government employee, clear? Next one is commuted pension. With respect to commuted pension, it will be fully exempted from tax with respect to government employees. So in this case, government employees means central government employee, state government employee, local government employee and statutory corporation employee, right? For them commuted pension is fully exempted, clear? In case of non-government employee, so commuted pension will be exempted to certain extent. Again they say that in case if employee is receiving the gratuity, so at that point of time whatever the normal pension he receives, 1/3 of that will be given as an exemption, right? In case if he does not receive any gratuity, at that point of time half of the normal pension will be exempted, clear? So these are the 5 cases stated by Income Tax Authority with respect to pension. Hope you are clear with this. Now we will move on to few problems based on this pension, okay? First thing is, I will go with a problem based on NPS. I will go with a problem based on NPS, National Pension System. This is one important aspect. So normally you need to understand how it is included in the salary, then how the deduction is given, what will be the contribution by the employer, what will be the contribution by the employee. So all those aspects you will be understanding through this problem. I will just read out the problem. Mr. Aviraj is employed since 2010 by the central government or any other employer. During the previous year 2019-20, he gets rupees 30,000 per month as salary and rupees 10,000 per month as dearness allowance. 60% of it is considered for retirement benefit. Employer annually contributes rupees 45,000 towards NPS. Mr. Aviraj, however, annually contributes rupees 1,05,000. Income from other sources of Mr. Aviraj is rupees 9,50,000. Mr. Aviraj deposits every year rupees 90,000 in public provident fund, which is deductible under section 80C. Further, he is eligible for a deduction of rupees 25,000 under section 80CCC. Find the income of Mr. Aviraj for the assessment year 2020-21. Right. So, as I earlier said, this is problem based on NPS, means the cases, 5 cases whatever they have said with respect to income tax, based on that this is related to 4th case NPS, right. So, we will understand what are the information they have provided here. As I said, employer contribution is there, employee contribution is there, right, and also they have given what is the contribution Mr. Aviraj has made towards public provident fund, to what extent he is eligible for deduction under section 80CCC, right, and also what was the salary he was earning. So, he is a central government employee. So, normally NPS provision will be with respect to central government employee maximum cases, right. So, we will go with the problem. So, what are the things they have given, right. Okay. So, here salary they have given. So, what is the salary they have given? Means Mr. Aviraj was getting 30,000 per month, right. First thing, salary he was getting 30,000 per month, means for 1 year we need to calculate. So, it is 12 months. So, how much it is? So, it is 3,60,000. Clear? Next thing, dearness allowance they have given. So, DA, dearness allowance. So, it is 10,000 per month they have given. So, 10,000 into 12, 10,000 into 12, right. So, it is 1,20,000. Okay. Here, as I earlier said, employer contribution should be added first, means to your salary it will be added, then he will be given a deduction. So, in this case, employer contribution, employers contribution towards NPS. So, what is the contribution here? He has given 45,000, which is said in the problem. So, these are the 3 components which has been given in the problem, right. Next thing is, if you sum up this, it will be said as gross salary, right. It will be said as gross salary. If you sum up, total will be 5,25,000. 5,25,000. This is said as gross salary. Clear? Afterwards, as per the income tax norms, there is a standard deduction of 50,000 that will be given for an individual, right. So, less standard deduction, that is 50,000. He will be given 50,000 deduction. So, remaining amount is 4,75,000. So, this is the amount of income from salary what Mr. Abhiraj is getting. Income from salary, right. So, here we need to calculate total income in this case. Afterwards, based on the total income, we need to give the deductions here, which is also said as gross total income also. Before giving any deduction, if you say that income, that will be said as gross total income or gross salary, right. So, here gross salary was said, afterwards we gave standard deduction, that is 50,000 set by income tax authority. So, it is now it is 4,75,000, that is income from salary. So, in this case there is also one more income, that is income from other sources. Income from other sources. So, income from other sources is 9,50,000. 9,50,000. So, now you need to sum up this. It will be 14,25,000. So, in case if you are not giving any deduction to him, you can stop it here and say it as total income what Mr. Abhiraj has earned. So, now it is said as gross total income. Gross total income 14,25,000 he has got. So, now we need to give the deductions with respect to NPS. So, what was employer contribution, what was employees contribution. So, based on that we will make the assessment. Yes, right. So, here deductions will be given with respect to 80CCD as well as 80CC as well as 80C, 80CCC, all those will be given. So, what I will do here is, till here I will stop and then again I will continue it from here, right. Okay. Now, till here it is clear, right, 14,25,000. So, this is what the income he has got, Mr. Abhiraj has got. So, now I will start from here. This is GTI. So, continuation of the problem from here. Now, we need to give deduction. Deduction we need to give. So, here first deduction is what he has contributed, means in the rules they have said that he can contribute also 50,000, up to 50,000 he can contribute, that is said as employee contribution, which is under section 80CCD subsection 1B. So, here under section 80CCD 1B, under section this, here it is said as assessee's contribution, means employee's contribution. So, up to 50,000 it is exempted. So, in this case he has given 50,000 contribution. So, 50,000 he has made a contribution, right. Next one is 80CCD subsection 2, 80CCD subsection 2. This is employer contribution that is made, right. So, to what extent employer has made the contribution here, in the problem they have said he has made a contribution of 45,000, right. And also, but they say that up to maximum of 10% of salary will be given as an exemption, or he can claim an exemption. So in this case, NPS contribution made by employer is 45,000. Employer has made 45,000. Understand? Right. Next thing is they say that maximum is 10% of salary will be given as an exemption. In this case, salary means 4,32,000. So what is this 4,32,000? Right? It is, first thing is your basic salary what you have calculated initially, that is 3,60,000 plus DA. We need to consider dearness allowance, that is 60% of 1,20,000. This is what? 4,32,000. Right? So you need to calculate 10% of 4,32,000 you need to consider. So 43,200. Understanding? Right. So next thing is, what is the amount of contribution Abhiraj has made with respect to 80C? Under section 80C, Abhiraj has made a contribution towards Public Provident Fund, that is 90,000. I will be taking this in inner column because, as I initially said, there will be a ceiling limit of 1,50,000 with respect to 80C, 80CCC and 80CCD subsection 1, right. So with respect to that, 80C PPF contribution 90,000. Next is 80CCC. With respect to this, he has contributed 25,000. Afterwards, employee contribution what he made, that is under section 80CCD subsection 1. So he has made a contribution, right. So here what is the amount of contribution he has made here is, he has made 1,05,000 towards NPS, right. So but he has got 50,000 exemption here, where with respect to this 50,000 exemption he will be claiming there. So that 1,05,000 limit, out of 1,05,000 we will be deducting 50,000, means here out of 1,05,000 we will be deducting 50,000. Clear? Out of this, right, it is 55,000 remaining. Remaining is 55,000. So but here also they say that 10% of salary will be given as an exemption, right. So we cannot give him 55,000, right. So here also maximum is 10% of salary. Maximum is 10% of salary. So 10% we have calculated already here. So that is 43,200. So these are the three components with respect to 80C, 80CCC, 80CCD subsection 1. So this sums up to a limit of, ceiling limit of 1,50,000. So what is this amount if you sum up? It will be 1,58,200. 1,58,200. But amount deduction or amount deductible with respect to these three cases, right. So the ceiling limit is 1,50,000. We cannot give him 1,58,000. So 1,50,000 will be given as deduction. Clear? I repeat again here. These three things, 80C, 80CCC, 80CCD subsection 1. In these cases, it is 1,50,000 is the maximum exemption that will be provided by the income tax authority, right, or as per income tax norms. But in this case, he has got 1,58,200. That is a contribution what he has made. It might also be said as his savings. So out of that, maximum exemption is given as 1,50,000. So if you sum up out of this, if you deduct this, so what is the remaining amount? That is 11,81,800. 81,800. So this is called as your net income. This is how the NPS will be calculated with respect to case 4 under your pension. Tax treatment with respect to pension also we can call it as. Hope it is clear, right? We will move on to next problem. So next thing is based on case 5 I will be going with. So in case 5 I told there will be commuted pension, uncommuted pension, right? Again government employee, non-government employee. So for a non-government employee it is 1/3 of pension and 1/2 of pension, right? In which situation when he is receiving the gratuity, when he is not receiving the gratuity. So these are the theoretical concepts which you should know when you are solving this, right? So I will go with the problem here. Mr. Srikanth receives rupees 18,250 per month as pension from central government during the previous year 2019-20. Determine the amount of pension taxable for the assessment year 2020-21 on the assumption that it will become due on the last day of each month. So what is your understanding here? Here Mr. Srikanth is receiving monthly pension, right? If he is receiving monthly pension means it is said as periodical payment and it is also said as uncommuted pension. So here, so what is the amount he is receiving here? He is receiving 18,250 per month, means Srikanth is receiving 18,250 per month he is receiving, right? He will receive it for 12 months. Clear? For 12 months he will receive. So it is 2,19,000. So as he is a government employee, so what happens here? Is it chargeable to tax or not? In this case, as it is uncommuted pension, it is chargeable to tax. Means for Mr. Srikanth, uncommuted pension of rupees 2,19,000 is chargeable to tax as salary income for the assessment year 2020-21. Clear? Okay. We will move on to next problem. I will just go with the problem. Mr. Chiranth receives rupees 21,000 per month as pension from Government of Punjab during the previous year 2019-20. Determine the amount of pension taxable for the assessment year 2020-21 on the assumption that it becomes due on the last day of each month, right? So previously we discussed about Srikanth. He is a government employee. He was central government employee. Now we are discussing about Chiranth. He is a state government employee. State government employee. In this case it was taxable, right? So now in this case what it is? Again they said 21,000 per month Mr. Chiranth is receiving, right? So again uncommuted pension. So per year it is how much? It will be 2,52,000. So as it is uncommuted pension, again with respect to the pension chargeable to tax, it is chargeable to tax as salary income for the assessment year 2020-21. So now hope you are clear. One is central government, another one is state government. Clear? Now one more thing, we will go with a private case, means private organization. Right? I will just go with the problem. Mr. Shashi receives rupees 20,000 per month as pension from ABC Limited, a public limited company in a private sector. During the previous year 1920, determine the amount of pension taxable for the assessment year 2020-21 on the assumption that it becomes due on last day of each month. Right. So now we are discussing about a private organization employee. So it is Mr. Shashi. It is private company. Right. So here what is the amount he is receiving here? 20,000 per month he is receiving. 20,000 per month he is receiving. So he will receive 2,40,000. So again this is said as uncommuted pension. Understanding? So when it is uncommuted pension, what it is? It is chargeable to tax as salary income. So even in Shashi's case also it is chargeable to tax. Right? Hope you are clear here. With respect to central government employee, he had received uncommuted pension, it was chargeable to tax. Again state government employee, it was chargeable to tax. Again Shashi private employee, it was chargeable to tax. So these are the three different cases, right? So where you can know the difference, how it will be chargeable to tax, how it is, right? So I will go with one more problem, right? Mr. Aviraj retires from central government service on May 31st, 2019. He gets a pension of rupees 15,000 per month up to November 30th, 2019. That is rupees 15,000 into 6. With effect from December 1, 2019, he gets 1/3 of his pension commuted for rupees 7,18,000. Determine the amount of pension taxable for the assessment year 2020-21 on assumption that it becomes due on the last day of each month. Right. So in this case, in Mr. Aviraj's case here, what is the information they have provided? He is a central government employee, right. So he gets a pension of rupees 15,000 per month, they are saying, up to November 30th, 2019, that is 15,000 into 6, right. Again with effect from December 1, 2019, he gets 1/3 of his pension as commuted, right. So now here you should be clear about commuted pension, uncommuted pension, right. So based on that you need to understand here, right. So we will go with a solution for this. First thing here, you are clear with this. So uncommuted means it is chargeable to tax, right. So here with respect to Mr. Aviraj's case, so what is the amount of uncommuted pension he has received here, right. So we need to calculate that, but what is the amount of commuted pension he has received here for which he can claim the exemption or it will be exempted. So commuted pension, of rupees 7,18,000 he has received, rupees 7,18,000 he has received. So this is exempt from tax. So here Mr. Aviraj, he is a central government employee. In this case they have given both commuted pension as well as uncommuted pension. So where we need to calculate the uncommuted pension. With respect to commuted pension, that is 7,18,000, it is exempt from tax. Now we will go with calculation of uncommuted pension. calculation of uncommuted pension. So here they have said to what extent uncommuted pension he has received here. So they said uncommuted pension up to November 30th, 2019 means up to November 30th, 2019 he has received 15,000 per month. 15,000 per month. From when? From June. So June to November it will be 6 months. So into 6 months this is what he has received. So 90,000. Afterwards from December they have told that he had received 1/3 as commuted pension. So remaining 2/3 is uncommuted. So remaining months now till till November it is this much. From December to March. December to March. So this is 3 months here. December to March, 3 months. That is 15,000 here also he will be receiving. December to March it is 4 months. It is 4 months here. How much? 1/3. This is 1/3 he has already received, right? Now remaining is how much? 2/3. That we need to calculate here. So it will be 40,000. If you sum up, it is 1,30,000. This is said as uncommuted pension. So this is exempt for Aviraj. Uncommuted pension of 1,30,000 is taxable. Clear? So here we came across with different cases. One was related to NPS, right? How the employer contribution will be included. Afterwards, what is the deduction given to him? That is one thing. Next, we came across a case with respect to Shrikant, right? Who was a central government employee. Next was Chirant. Again, it was uncommuted pension. Next was Shashi. So all those three genres were different uncommuted pensions. Now here with respect to Aviraj, he had received uncommuted as well as commuted. So for both we have calculated here, commuted as well as uncommuted. So this is what the difference you need to understand. Clear? Thank you.